Let's begin our presentation. The ancient Hebrew ram's horn. Shalom to all those gathered around. Let me introduce myself. My name is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman from Beth Goyim Messianic Congregation. The students you're seeing are from Beit Shilsham, the House of Excellence. We're homeschoolers, meeting on the net to teach our children respect, honor, dignity, all the things befitting a soldier. These students that you're going to see today that are going to be presenting are students who are first generation here in America, where our colleges teach disrespect of this nation. We teach great respect of God and country. We first and foremost want to thank you for your service. We know that freedom is not free. And that's what we're teaching our children. That other people gave of themselves, gave of their friends, gave their heart, mind, soul, and strength so that we could live free. And we deeply thank you for everything that you've done. You're to be commended and honored for allowing us the opportunity to live in this free nation. So today we're going to start off where other people are not praying. We pray. We thank God in everything that we do. We are Jews and Gentiles worshiping together as one people. We believe in Messiah, Yeshua. You might know him by his Gentile name, Jesus. We call him Yeshua. In Hebrew, it means salvation. So we're going to invite him first and foremost into this meeting. Avinu Malkeinu, our Father, our King, to you be all honor, praise, and glory. We thank you for this opportunity to share words with these veterans. We ask for your blessing upon this meeting. We ask for your blessing upon these men and women who serve this great nation with honor and dignity. We ask that you would heal any wounds that they might have and bless them from on high. In your name, Yeshua. Amen. We're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Now we're going to have a little presentation of our national anthem because it is an honor to sing our national anthem. We are going to have two parts of it. Most people do not realize that there are multiple verses to the national anthem. The first verse everybody knows, but the fourth verse is the one that proclaims our God. We're going to have our singers sing it to you.
rays and bright stars through the perilous flight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the monks were singing in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Oh, the Spirit ever, when free men shall stand between their loved homes and the war's desolation, blessed with victory and peace. May the handless you land. Praise the power that made and preserved us, our nation. And conquer we must, and hold to His trust. And this be our motto: in God is our trust. And this star-spangled banner in triumph shall wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Now I'll turn the presentation over to Representative Kelly.
Welcome to all of you. It is a great joy for us that you are here. It is our honor. Today is your day. Today, all the work and all the preparations that we've done was all about honoring you, showing the respect that in many cases was long overdue. The children that you are going to meet today, some of you may have met them last year, but we have a lot more students this year. So you're going to see some new faces. They've been working to learn a lot of things that are completely absent from American education. So we made it our business to learn history. We made it our business to learn about the work that you do, the work that you've done. We've learned about America's place in the world and how we got to this point. We've spent a lot of time and energy trying to put into words how awesome America is, but not just by that alone, but what you've contributed to that. So the children in each of their presentations today are hoping to communicate to you what this vast nation is, the American history on the timeline of the world. And then the whole point of today, to show you they recognize your contribution to that, that you've each served towards something much bigger than yourselves. And that's our hope, that that message comes clearly today. So each of the students is going to present work that they've prepared for today. We hope that you will enjoy, that there will be smiles. We hope that you will see that there really are patriots in America. They're still alive, and that there really are students being taught. Nobody's forgotten. It's just a precious thing in our heart. All right. So it is important that you recognize that each of these students are first-generation Americans. You will see that there is a great love for this nation, there's great respect for the freedom that they have here. So I hope you will enjoy. What we're going to do is some of these presentations will be live and some will be on video, because we go to school together, but we're using electronics to do that. We don't all live in the same town, so we gather like we're doing right now. So some of the presentations, like the singing of the national anthem, we had to gather together to do that. And by the way, I hope you appreciate the great courage that those students showed. It's a different kind of courage than what many of you have had to show, but it's one of the hardest songs in the world to sing, and any singer will tell you that. And so they not only were brave enough to try to sing it, but they also did it without any instruments, which I think is pretty amazing. So I hope you can appreciate that courage right there. So our first section for today's program is going to be America is our home and it's yours. You are connected to us through this land. These children are connected to you. And when you're busy doing the work that you so passionately do, that you've done, sometimes it feels like we're disconnected, because as members of the military, we've learned that you're serving all over the place and you move around a lot. And so trying to stay connected comes from a place of the heart. That's where we're the strongest. We connect with each other. So our first presenters are going to be the young ones. And so we've learned an alphabet with these are pre-K presentations. We've been learning the alphabet and some new words. And we also learned sign language, because that's a way of communicating. And it's a beautiful language to watch. So we have some words that we want to share with you. And I hope you enjoy that. And I hope you feel connected to these words the way we do. So first up, Rabbi, if you'll let it roll, will be our dear friend Hadassah. All right, now, Ivana, can you bring Hadassah so she can show everybody how to communicate in sign language these important words that connect us all?
Say shalom first.
Shalom. America.
Say loud.
Brave.
B is for brave. Very good. E.
Say confident.
Confident.
C is for confidence.
Eagle.
Say louder.
Eagle.
E is for eagle. Very good.
And say F. Stop moving. Say quickly. F. What?
F
Flag.
is for flag. Very good. Thank you so much, Hadassah. That connects us, all those things. National symbols help us to stay together even when we're far apart. We take one look at that beautiful flag and we know that we're Americans together. We know when we see an eagle soaring high above, it represents a spirit that Americans have. C is confidence. Confidence that we have because of you, veterans. We have confidence. We don't walk in fear because you stand in places where we don't see, but you stand. And A is for America, the land that you defend. Okay, now, one of the things that we recognized was that when you're serving far away and when you're traveling, sometimes you're not out of the country, but you're still far away from your family. And staying connected can be very difficult. We learned a lot of things that, you can't just pick up your cell phone. When you're on a mission, you can't just pick up and say hello to your family. They can't just call you. So in our modern day, with all our technologies, letters still work. There's something personal. There's something deep. When you see your loved one's handwriting on a piece of paper, you recognize it right away, right from across the room, whether it's your son, your daughter, your mom, your dad, your wife, your husband, it doesn't matter. That handwriting and that personal connection that you have that keeps us together. A lot of the men and women who are even serving right now, they're in places where communication is very few and far between. And we've learned that sometimes they feel a little too far. So our next presenters have written letters. So I want you to imagine, so these are letters written to a soldier they don't know, a naval officer somewhere, whatever branch of the military. Just imagine, far from home, how precious the communication is and what keeps us connected. So our first presenter will be Jeanette, and we'll have Kathy and Jennifer as well. So if you'll just sit back and kind of imagine someone back home remembering what you're doing and where you are. Okay, Jeanette, you're up next. So, Rabbi, video, please.
We do not have one for Jennifer, Jeanette.
Okay. Go ahead, Jeanette.
Tilt up the camera, David, a little bit. She's chopping off her head. There you go. She got a little taller.
I have a joyful life because you protect me. I can play and be homeschooled because you defend me. I love my life. You give me freedom with God's help. You have to stand strong, be brave. Act as you Act as you are strong. You have courage in yourself. Just believe. All you have to do is trust in God. Thank you.
Okay, our next letter from home is going to be from Miss Kathy Barbero. Kathy, would you please present your letter next?
Dear American soldiers, thank you. Thank you for protecting the huge country. I know it is difficult to stay away from your family. To be a good soldier, you must have been training very hard to be the strongest and most intelligent in your group. You were brave to consider joining the Army, especially knowing the challenges and dangers you were going to face on the way. You must have gotten dirtier than pigs working and training. We know defending the U.S. is a hard task and a challenge, but you overcome those challenges every day. The best part is you fight not to kill, but to protect. So to all American soldiers, please know you matter to us, even if we don't show it sometimes, because sometimes we forget the things you go through every day. We are all thankful. God bless you.
Thank you for that loving message, Kathy. Okay, next one up is Jennifer. This is another letter from home to your hearts, veterans. Rabbi, let the video roll. Okay, Jennifer.
Dear soldiers, thank you so much for all of your hard work. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others died. They fought for all of our rights. God is proud and so is America. God is your shield and he will protect you like he protected David from Goliath. They fought days and night. All of them deserve our pride. We thank you all veterans just the same.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you so much. These are letters from the hearts of these children to people who have served and who are even serving now, recognizing that there's a lot of things that you face every day so that we can be free. Okay, the next section of our presentation, we are Americans. And for these children, it's a special statement, but it's a great reminder for those of us who are born here and we've spent our whole lives here. We need to remind ourselves, what does that mean? And so our first grade class was looking for ways of expressing the greatness of America. It's a big land with a huge history, and so much is put together to make America. How do you express something so amazing as America in words? It's kind of difficult, but we tried our best, and we found some words we thought actually accomplished that goal. We got the mission done. We found some words to tell about our life in America that carried the meaning and the heart. So each of our first graders wrote a series of sentences, and they're learning words. They're learning how to read and write. So I hope you can appreciate, they were learning that words carry a lot of power. And when you find the right word and the fit is perfect, whatever's in your heart seems to leap from you and it reaches the other person. So they've each written a series of 4 sentences that capture what they want to say about America and also what they've learned about you. So Yeshua is our first one up. And so Rabbi, if you'll let the video roll, and Yeshua's going to read something that he wrote. Okay, Yeshua, what did you write about America?
Go ahead.
You work seriously and faithfully to defend America. Thank you. I have a beautiful day and a beautiful life in America. Thank you. I can run and play because thank you. You and fabric. You can work and find scrolls so that we can live safely, free, and happy. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yeshua. I just want to remind everybody that these children are learning to read for the first time, and they really had put a lot of thought into these words that they put together. It's a very beautiful thing. Okay, Kevin is up next. So Kevin, if you'll get ready. Rabbi, let the video roll.
I have a happy life in America. Thank you. I can ride my bike and play with my Legos because of you. Thank you. You fight and defend so that we can live free and happy. Enemy and bomb cannot reach us because you stand brave and dumb. You work hard and patiently to defend America. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you so much. Those were beautiful thoughts. All right, Michael, you're up next. Rabbi, roll the video.
I have a nice, joyful life in America. Thank you. I can play and draw because of you. Thank you. You fight and defend us so that we can live free and happy. Thieves and bombs cannot reach us because you stand strong and tall. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Michael, for those inspiring words. Okay, next up is Brian. Brian, if you'll read for us some of your ideas to tell about the greatness of America, what words did you find to describe it?
I have a strong and joyful life in America. Thank you. I can play and homeschool because of you. Thank you. You exercise? No. Yeah. I exercise and have fun so that we can live free and happy. Enemies and thieves cannot reach us because you stand strong and tall. You work hard and protect us to defend America. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, now Miss Lev Manjaris is next up. Right, if you will roll the video.
Okay, loud and clear.
I have a calm, happy life in America. Thank you. I can read and dream because of you. Thank you.
Put your hand down.
You fight and watch so that we can live free and happy. Evil and death cannot reach us because you stand strong and tall. You work boldly and tirelessly to defend America. Thank you.
That was wonderful. Very beautiful words. Thank you, Lev. All right, our last presenter for their sentences, Mr. Benjamin Sanchez. Roll the video.
I have a safe, awesome life in America. Thank you. I can read and write because of you. Thank you. You fight and died so that we can live free and happy. Enemies and bombs cannot reach us because you stand strong and tall. You work hard and responsible to defend America. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you so much. So that section of our presentation about what is it that we can say about our life in America, even the youngest members of our communities are able, when you ask them, to find a way to describe how great it is to be here, but they know that it doesn't come easy. The next section of our presentation is called A Living Part of American History. So we've been learning that on the timeline of the earth from the beginning, every person, every community, every family, every nation plays a part. And when you're a part of America, it's no small thing. We've been learning that the part that you have played was a huge part, even when you were feeling small, or even when you felt like maybe you didn't accomplish what you wanted, or maybe something didn't go right, or maybe nobody noticed, but you were part of something much, much bigger than yourselves. And we're taking time today to recognize that, even if other times people failed to recognize what you've contributed. That ends here and now, because this generation of children is going to be wide awake and aware that they don't benefit from all this beauty and freedom without your contribution. It doesn't exist. Okay, so what you're going to hear now are two short stories that were inspired by you. These were stories that were written in a creative way to try to let you know what these children have learned about the work that you've accomplished in your life. So our first short story was written by Miss Leah Sanchez. So Rabbi, if you would play the video, and we're going to hear a story, Yaakov's Humble Hope, a story of strength and purpose. Okay, Leah, after the video, read us your story.
One morning, Yaakov the living stone awoke from a frightening dream. He didn't understand the dream, so he quickly got up and went to the temple of God. Yaakov said, "Lord, why did you give me such a dream?" The Lord answered, "There are people who need guidance." After 3 hours with God, Yaakov agreed to help God. He agreed that in those 3 days he will sail the ocean. In those 3 days, all Yaakov did was fast and pray, until he arrived at the place of sinners. When he arrived, he saw horrible things. Yaakov stopped at a hotel that was bombed, but he had no other choice but to stay at the hotel. Yaakov went to the corner of the hotel where he began to preach. 6 hours Yaakov was out still preaching, but no one would listen. Yaakov cried out to the Lord, "Lord, no one won't listen, not even a little bit." The Lord answered, "You are wrong. Someone is listening. Open the door behind you, Yaakov." Yaakov opened the door, and there was a man. Yaakov asked the man, why was he listening? The man said, he never heard anything like that. Yaakov had an idea. He said, "What was your name?" The man replied, "Joseph, sir." Yaakov asked if he would help him to tell other people about God. Joseph said yes. They made posters, business cards, and pamphlets. People would stop by, but only listen for a little. Yaakov said, "It's time for discipline." They had food, and that's what the people wanted, but they had to listen to the message, and then they could eat.
4 days later, people started coming and listening about God. Finally, the people of sinners turned their ways and came to God. Yaakov stood up and said to the people, "We are blessed to have people who defend us. Be thankful." The people got up and celebrated. Joseph got up and said, "We have to stand strong." The people felt free that they could yell, "Praise God." We are thankful that we are free, that we could go to school, we could buy food. Thank you that we have jobs, that we could feed our family. Our land is different because of you.
Thank you, Leah. Leah, if you would, I know you prepared something about to tell a little bit about how this story came about and what its purpose is. Could you read that for us, please?
The story means that Yaakov is God's creation. God uses us for good. In this case, Yaakov was used to show God's truth. Yaakov didn't think someone was listening to him speak, so he needed help realizing that there is someone listening. Yaakov needed help realizing that God used him for good. And when God uses you for good, sometimes you don't realize that something so small could be something so big and worth doing.
Thank you, Leah. That was beautiful. That was beautiful. Okay, our next short story is going to be presented by Miss Brittany Manjaras. Rabbi, if you could run the video.
Many people tend not to notice me. I'm a very common thing, quiet and old. I'm the last thing you think of as someone who listens. I'm a silent witness. I am a tree, you see, and it has come to my attention that my time of silence must come to applause for you. My whole life I've lived overlooking the sea. There was never a dull moment around here. Ships come in and ships go out with new recruits and supplies all the time. Times have changed, the uniform, artillery, and the people themselves. I should know, I've been around longer than your grandfather. I saw him recruited too, young and excited, just like you were. He, just like many others, thinking that they were alone and no one would hear them, spoke of their families' names, their fears, dreams, and happiest memories. And I listened and kept all these things to myself. I caught their tears and was a shoulder to lean on. I took their blows when they hacked at my branches. I saw their pain, fear, and sadness in their eyes when they were homesick. When they sat under my branches, I felt happy. I knew that even if it was just a few minutes of peace, I was glad I could give them that. It's the least I can do for all their sacrifices. I've sat here by the coast for many years, and through those years I've heard many things, such as the time when a team of soldiers was supposed to meet by me in 3 hours to ambush the opposition soldiers. So the team of soldiers went to prepare the weapons, and as Bird says, one man fell on his compass and they couldn't find their way back to me. Thus their plan was foiled, and let's just say their general wasn't too happy. Then there was another time that these soldiers climbed up into my branches to hide from their enemy. It turns out these guys had taken some food supply from their enemies. Now this group was in a heap of trouble with the opposing side. I could tell a lot more stories than that. Just imagine all the stuff I hear from the birds. They bring stories from your home, where you come from, where your family sends soft whispers of hope and love to you. As far as I'm concerned, they're just as strong as you are. To keep walking when your loved one is gone for a long time is a very honorable and brave task. We are quite alike, you see. I fear just like you. I fear that one day I will not fulfill my purpose, or maybe that I don't have a purpose at all. Just as you protect, I protect. You guard your hopes, dreams, and freedoms. I guard your secrets, the good ones, and unfortunately the bad ones too. Just like you, I have a purpose. Without you, there is no free and prosperous nation to call home. Without me, there is no oxygen for people to breathe. We are simply not inanimate objects, but walls of protection. We may not always be noticed, but we are the legs that this nation stands on, and for that I salute you.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you so much. I hope that those stories were inspiring because they were inspired by you, our honored guests today. Your steadfastness and your courage and the sacrifices that you made, even the sacrifices that don't seem obvious to everyone. We've been studying about that, what it is you really walk away from when you go out and face an enemy, the dangers and the evils, but also the loved ones that you left behind that you have to hold in your heart because you can't hold them in your arms. So we greatly respect that. We're moving on now. We have another section, and this is the United States of America is a treasure worth defending. We wanted to present to you the reality that you're defending a huge nation and millions of people. And sometimes in the heat of what you're doing, in the passion of what you're doing, in the pressure of what you're doing, some things may not be clear. So there's this treasure in beauty and all these lives that you're defending. The work that you do, the work that you have done was worth every minute of it. So we tried to put into words some examples, some inspirations, some truth about what it is, what were you really defending? So we're going to share with you our thoughts. These children have been educated. They have knowledge that a lot of older people don't even have, people much older than they are. And so they put together this presentation about the freedom and what they use it for. That's the beauty in America. We have freedom, we have safety, we have security. And we are well aware that there are nations on this earth where children grow up and a week doesn't go by and their lives get interrupted by threats and violence, by having their freedom robbed from them. But then we have this freedom, and what do we do with it? So the first group, we're going to revisit some people that you met earlier. They're going to read about some things that they were able to accomplish, excellence that they were able to do. And well, what does that have to do with you? The environment where they can thrive and soar like on eagle's wings has everything to do with the work that you've accomplished. So, Ms. Kathy Barbero, if you would please read for us this inspiring thing. What excellence have you been able to accomplish in your life here in America?
Okay. Something of excellence. One hot summer day, Danny, my dad, and I were outside. My dad was trying to clean the pool while me and Danny were reading. So being around 6 years old, I got bored. And to try to fix that case of boredom, I challenged Danny to a housemaking contest. The rules were simple: use outdoor resources. And Danny, being, well, Danny, accepted. So we started building. I got mud, sticks, moss, rocks, and pine leaves. Danny, on the other hand, only used pine leaves. As a result, he made a sticks. He made a teepee. Well, I made a good sturdy house, and with the leftover rocks, I made a pool. My dad was the judge, so of course I would have won.
Thank you so much, Kathy. So these pieces of excellence are moments of joy, moments of security, so that the human spirit can grow in that environment. And so it has everything to do with our veterans. So our next presenter is Leah. And I have these lesson numbers here just so everyone knows, so that in case they forgot which paper they were supposed to read. Okay, so Leah, if you could share with us a moment of excellence in your life where something you did the very best that you could.
I had to wake up every morning, go down to the piano and start practicing the chords. I failed. I rushed too hard, too fast. I couldn't really do it. I gave up a little bit of hope, but then I got back up again. I kept practicing and practicing. That's how I got better. I didn't understand how my hands were supposed to do all these stuff. I didn't know how to structure my hands, how to make it play what I wanted to play. I practiced and practiced, and I finally got it. Now I know how to play the chords on the piano.
Thank you, Leah. Thank you so much. Music, such an awesome thing. And doesn't America have such a wealth of talented musicians? And we live in a land where they're free to do that because of you. Okay, Miss Jeanette Lemma, can you tell us about some excellence in your life?
The best work I have done was baking with my mom. My mom was in a bakery. I went with my mom to work with her. My mom told me to put stickers on cards. Then I wanted to help my mom with the dough. I asked her and she said it was fine. I helped her. I had to be very fast while baking with her. I learned that you have to be very fast to work with my mom. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeanette. And aren't we the breadbasket of the world America has been? It's an awesome thing to know what to do with all that wheat that was grown in America. And baking is a beautiful thing. And it takes a lot of skill. I'm not really that great at baking, but I'm glad that you shared that with us, Jeanette. Jennifer is our last presenter of excellence, that your defense has provided an opportunity for these people to learn skills and to soar. So Jennifer Lemma.
The best work that I have learned was to draw. I had to learn how to draw shapes, and I had to learn how to listen to what I had to do. I had to learn how to draw and obey. I had to learn the things to use to draw. And finally, I got better at it every time I tried. And I practiced every day and I learned. Thank you.
All right. And this American land is filled with very, very talented artists. And young artists have to start somewhere, and they can grow into experts and masters of whatever art they chose to learn. So thank you so much. All right, next up, we have our 5th graders. Now, this class was searching for a way to communicate more of what is this land that you're defending? Why is it worth all the work that you have done? Why pour out so much energy? even when it seems like no one's paying attention to the work that you did. So this is an open letter to everybody who serves in the military. And these are thoughts and feelings and reactions and inspirations that they've been building on. And so it weaves together as one letter. So each member of the team is going to read a part of that letter. So Mr. Danny Barbero is going to start us. And then, you know, Rabbi, I was thinking it might be better because it'll interrupt the flow if we put the video in. So maybe if you could play the video for David and for Mia before they read. So I know you have them queued up in order anyway. So if you could play David and Mia, the video, and then we'll read. Okay, Danny, why don't you start us off?
Dear American military servicemen and women, I am glad that you came. It must have been an honor to serve as a soldier to fight and defend your country, the United States of America. I have learned that in a war you must have experienced sadness and pain because of what you saw and lost. It might have been shocking to see the size of the enemy's army, and also the planes, bombers, tanks, U-boats, ships, and the weapons they had. The things that worry me are bomber airplanes, because even the sound of them is intimidating long before they're dropping bombs. War seems crazy to me. War can sometimes be necessary. Other times it seems that we might avoid it, especially depending on what is going on. For example, fighting over something that people want or because of something someone said. These are unnecessary things that can cause problems. I'm learning that long before a war begins, people need to be prepared, gathering food, water, their Bibles, weapons to defend themselves, and clothes. I've learned that wars are costly in many ways and need to be prevented. The main price to pay is due to violence, injuries, or deaths. The Bible says that every human and animal life is precious to God. He said that he will keep a record when people get their lives taken from them. Wars can take away time from our lives too. People's responsibilities are to know what to do for their families and to protect each other. But during war, those things are sometimes impossible.
The action of defending is an action most humans understand. It's an instinct. But some people believe that all fighting is wrong. I don't agree. The Bible says there are times it is needed, and all defense is physical. Sometimes just speaking an important truth ends in a fight. It is an important reason that defending is something our military does with excellence. You do it so that we can be safe and secure, and you work so that we can have freedom to do all the great things that have made this nation strong, like going to school every day.
The enemy, on the other hand, will never give up. They will try and try again to hurt us, but you, brave men and women, stand in front of us to protect us. You also make sure even the most stiff-necked of our nation are safe because you care for us all. You have given the weak a place to stand. You make sure they are not alone when evil comes. You protect even nature from being destroyed by the enemy. You make sure the birds come out to sing every day. You have given us protection at the cost of your lives so that this nation can see the future.
Since I came to America, my life has changed. I have the opportunity to study and go to school to get better education. My parents couldn't go to school in Ecuador because their parents didn't want them to go to school, but they had to go work. Thanks to all the veterans and the soldiers now, I can I can worship God and freely and enjoy His blessing with my whole family. In this country, I can really enjoy all the days that God gives me. I really like to play the piano, and now I'm learning to read the notes and even more about the music. I even have the opportunity to play my favorite sports, soccer and volleyball. I especially like to go to congregation each Shabbat to worship God and learn more about Him. I really like to be together with my friends from Rachel Shom too. In America, I have a blessed hope of a future, a hope of to go to college to learn more about computer science. I want to learn all about coding and programming. Thanks to our soldiers and veterans, we have a joyful and peaceful life. You have done wonderful things for this country. You have done a hard work so that so many people will not be willing to do. Every day they sacrifice time with their own families. They sacrifice time for their friends and fun. Their own dreams wait so that we can live freely in this nation. American veterans and all those men and women that serves in our military deserve our true thanks.
The world knows America as the land of the free. Many people have come and taken refuge from evil, all because you have stood against obliteration of history and land. I thank you from my heart for all you have done. I thank your family for their courage. I thank your children for their valor, for their tears, and for their willingness. I thank those who have prayed for you, and I thank the Lord for keeping you safe. With sincere gratitude, Mia Majerus.
Thank you so much. Those were really inspiring words. Thank you. Rabbi, we've been watching bit by bit as these children have been presenting these bricks. And I would love for you now to reveal to our honored guests, what were they building anyway? So if you could roll a video and show them what was going on with those bricks while we've been participating in this event. So I introduce you veterans to what we call our wall of remembrance. Each of you represents a part of something, a wall of defense. This nation has never needed walls before because of your work. Each of you represents something strong and steady and faithful, unmoving, willing to stand your ground. And that beautiful flower, it's the flower of remembrance. And we chose that symbol because this group of people chooses to remember what you've done, remember what you stood for, remember what you've lost. But we also remember the promise of America and all the beautiful things that you were defending. So that wall of remembrance has two parts, that each one of these children contributed to something strong and tall, and each of you contributed something to the nation that we live in right now. And we are deeply, deeply grateful for that. So moving into the final section of our presentation. America, well, what's another part of America? This is the birthplace of heroes, isn't it? And each of you are a hero to us. So we're going to ask Ms. Hadassah Lara to come. She has a poem that she would like to present, and it's called Hero.
Wait. Okay, here, let's go. Let's start again. This one, you can look at you. Okay, grab it this one. Thank you for your help. Say. You need to stop it. Okay, let's go. Go louder, say louder.
It's for
Okay.
and rescue others and thank you. Yay!
Thank you, Hadassah. He who gives his life with his effort protects and rescues others in need. And that is our veterans, our heroes. All right. Now, we have some artwork for our guests to look at. And so each of our students has created a presentation, a representation of what America means and what your service has meant to them, and that what their vision is, their viewpoint of how great and wonderful your heroic deeds and your perseverance, your faithfulness has meant to them. So our first diorama presentation is from Mr. Kevin Lemma, and we're going to go in order that it's one by one. They're going to show us their presentation of what they see in you.
This is my diorama. I wanted to say to the veterans that I care for them and I am always pray for praying for them because they always protects this land and for our freedom. Thank you.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you so much. Okay, next up is our dear brother, Benjamin.
Okay. You hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay, so this is my project. So can you see it?
Yes, we can. We can see it just fine.
Okay, so this is my project. So it means how brave, strong, and loyal are the soldiers. And I want to show respect. Always remember that they fought for us. And I have everything.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. That's beautiful. I like the shining lights, the sparkle of America in the world. All right, next up, Michael Lemma. Michael, what is your project all about?
This is my project, my diorama. And this means that I'm really thankful of what they had done for me, and that this project is for those soldiers that died for us and for the country. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. That's very respectful. Very respectful. Thank you so much. All right, our next presenter is Yeshua Lara. Yeshua, what did you create? What inspired you?
This is the eagle. I cut it out. Are you ready? The banner has red steps.
Okay, what represent the stripe?
The stripes.
Speak loud.
The red stripes represent the blood. And the white represents the light. The sky of the cloud. And the stars represent the night. And the state. The 52 states.
And speak loud.
And 52 states. Country of the United States of America. Thank you. Well, the skies, the blue represents the sky. Thank you for your effort. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Yeshua. Thank you so much. That was a really big project. It's bigger than you are. All right. Next up, Mr. Brian. What inspired you in your studies for this wonderful day?
This means to me that they will always stand strong with God and hope and we have freedom.
Thank you. I like that. You kind of got everything all in one there. You've got all the armed services. You've got a little bit of the American landscape and the people all there. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, Lev Mangeris, please share with us what was inspiring for you.
This is
Let's begin with the words up there. Come on, sweetie.
this one's dignity. This one's freedom. This one is honor. This one is righteousness.
Our soldiers.
And these are the soldiers. They fought for us because if they wouldn't have fought for us, we wouldn't have these blue mountains. And
where are they located?
They're located in North Carolina, and these are the branches of the military. This one's the Air Force. This one is the Navy. This one is the Army. This one is the Coast Guard. And this one is the Navy.
Okay, what else?
I'd like to know what do the policies represent?
The poppy flowers remind us of the ones who fought for us. And the eagle it reminds us that God carries us on eagle's wings. And the light is and the light is Yeshua, and it's shining all over of our country and over the soldiers. And
that's it. Thank you.
And thank you.
Thank you. That's beautiful, Lev. There's a lot going on in that project. All right. That is a presentation from the youngest Americans that we've got in our group about this America, the birthplace of heroes. The next presentation we're going to have is a song that the children prepared. I hope you enjoy this song. The name of the song is "This Is Still the Land of the Free," and that's because of the hard work that you've all done. I hope you enjoy this beautiful song. Go ahead, Rabbi.
There is still a land of freedom rings in
Thank you to everybody that contributed that. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, now we're entering into the last part of today's presentation. In the Bible, which we at Beit Shilshom follow every word very closely, we are taught that there is a great war on for our souls. And so we have weapons too, and we have ways of fighting back darkness and evil, lies, things that cause people to get into wars in the first place. So our students have prepared something we would like to communicate to you, that we have weapons too. And we would like to let you know that we're watching over you. We have weapons. We know there's a war. And so we offer our protection for you as a small way of giving back. So our first grade team has prepared a message for you about the weapons and the tools that we have to cover over you. So we have a list of names here. I hope all the families have got those. If you would read for us your message to these veterans about how you're going to look after them with God's tools. So Kevin, how are you going to protect these soldiers from the darkness that comes at them?
We can protect these soldiers with belts, breastplate, sword, helmet, boots, and the Bible.
So can you tell our veterans which one of those tools are you going to be using to protect them? Which one did you pick?
The Bible.
Okay, so how are you going to use that for these veterans to cover them, to keep them safe?
God gave me armor and weapon to fight a dangerous enemy. He teaches me how to use those tools every day. You stand in front of enemies to keep me safe. I will use my Bible to defend you from evil.
Thank you, Kevin. Okay, Mr. Yeshua, what weapon are you going to use to defend our veterans? Can you tell us?
Here. Let go.
God give me weapon to God give me armor and weapons to fight dangerous enemies. Teach me how to use this tool every day. You stand from up the enemy to keep me safe. I will use my praise to defend you. You will from evil. I will use my praise to thank Jehovah to give the thank you them thank to receive and overcome them enemies. Them I tell them that they cannot go forward to obedience to commandment of Yeshua HaMashiach. Thank you.
Thank you, Yeshua. Praying over our servicemen and women is so important. Okay, Michael, what weapon are you going to be using to protect our veterans?
Prayer. I will use my prayer to help our soldiers because my prayer can encourage them and help them to be brave.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you. All right. Brian, what weapons are you using to help cover our veterans?
I am going to use the spirit sword because I use the spirit sword so they can have the Holy Spirit in them so the evil people will not attack them.
Thank you so much. That means a lot, Brian. It does mean a lot. All right, Benjamin, what weapon are you wielding?
I will use my prayer to defend you from evil. My armor is to remember them with prayers and respect every day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Lev is our last one. Lev, what weapon are you going to take out and use to help our military service men and women?
God gave me armor and weapons to fight the dangerous enemy. He teaches me how to use those tools every day. You stand in front of enemies to keep me safe. I will use my armor of God to defend you from evil. I will use my Bible and my prayers to the Lord to protect you every day.
Thank you, Lev. That's a powerful thing. You got a whole team, veterans, of people watching out over you and defending you right there. Now, this is the close of our presentation, and I'm going to ask Rabbi to just show the final video. The wall that we have created is a wall of defense, a wall of remembrance. And you noticed that the bricks weren't held together by anything really powerful looking. There didn't seem to be any mortar holding the bricks together. And there was a message in that. The thing that holds us together is love. And we hope that you're receiving the love, veterans, because there's a lot of it here. Love, family, history, a future and hope. These are the things that bind our wall together, that keep us united against whatever comes. And that's why there's no mortar there, because what holds us together is much stronger than any mortar. And so I hope that you are understanding that message. Rabbi, if you would finish our wall for us, please, and put the last final pieces. So that is the close of our presentation to you. I hope that each child that presented to you today was able to reach in your heart and let you know how we really feel. Thank you for your service. I just want to say a personal note. I've made it kind of a mission in my life. My grandfather served at Iwo Jima, and he was the only one of all of his friends to come back alive. And I didn't understand it. I never really thanked him. And it took a lifetime for me to learn what he suffered and the courage that he had to have. You know, he came back with a Purple Heart, but he came back with a broken heart. And I never really understood that. So I've devoted my life to make sure that no child in America grows up the way I did, empty of knowledge and wisdom and not understanding the work that you do. I made it my life's work. My two sons grew up knowing exactly all the things that were missing from my heart. I never really understood, and I never thanked him. So from me to you, thank you. From me to you, great honor and great respect. Thank you so much for your precious lives. Now, Rebbe Serena, that ends our presentation to these beautiful people. I don't know how we're doing on time, so guide me a little bit, because the kids did prepare some questions to ask, but, you know, guide me how are things going on your end?
Going quite well. We actually have 20 minutes. Y'all finished up 20 minutes ahead of schedule. So you just tell me what you would like to do next.
All right. Now, what we've done is the children had a lot of questions. We tried to narrow it down because there's a lot of kids and a lot of things that they were asking. So as you are led however you feel, if you want to answer any of these questions, whoever's inspired by a question. One thing that was on our hearts was, we have this wall of remembrance, and my whole life I've seen the poppies every Memorial Day. But we're asking you, what things do you want us to remember? What would you want for us to remember? And so we say that with great respect. We're going to ask questions, but we're hoping that you would be willing to share things that are important to you. What do you want these kids to know? What do you want them to remember, to carry on the torch, to make sure that nothing's lost that's important? And so now it's your turn when they ask the question, what's important on your heart to share? So what I would like, okay, I have a list of people. So I'm going to ask Michael, Mia, Leah, and Kathy. You're our first ones up to ask a question to our veterans that you've prepared. So grab your questions. And Michael, ask the first question for our veterans. What question do you have? Go ahead and ask, Michael. One question.
Was it fun to be trained?
Okay, veterans. We did get this question from a couple of our students. A lot of the boys are thinking doing all of that fun stuff, it looks like fun doing training to them. So they want to know, did you enjoy any of your training, or was it all just too much work?
You're talking, Reverend Serena, we can't hear you.
Now they want to know what now?
How was your training? Was it fun?
My training was fun. Yes, it was.
What all did you do? You can just right here. What all did you do? What was it about it that was fun?
Well, you get plenty of exercise, which maybe you never had before. And in boot camp, and I went to San Diego, Navy Training Center. All right, if you you don't have any combs or ink pens or candy bars or whatever in your pockets, because when you're standing in formation, when they call these red boards, they come around checking for discrepancies, anything they can set you back a couple of weeks in boot camp. And so I had a big Hershey candy bar that I had gone to the exchange and bought. And here come the red boards checking our company. And I'm standing in the back of the line, in the back. And so I said, well, I don't want to get set back. So I eased out of the formation and across the grinder I went back to the barracks. I missed supper that night, but that's okay. It's better than being set back.
That was because of your candy bar?
It was because get you in trouble. Is that it?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, kids, did you hear that? He had a stash of chocolate and it got him in trouble. But he did enjoy his training, so that's a pretty cool answer, right? Thank you so much for sharing that. So we have an actual veteran telling you that, some of the training was pretty fun, but if you have a stash of chocolate, it's kind of risky. All right, so there are some risks there. All right, let's have another question. Hey, Mia, what do you want to ask our veterans?
How old were you when you finished training?
Did you ask?
She asked how old were some of the men and women when they finished their training.
19, 18, 19. You know, when I went in the Navy, I was 25.
Okay.
Because I'd already served in the Army Reserve Air Force, and I was out 2 years. That's 25.
Did y'all hear that? The consensus is 18, 19, but Mr. Swinson said he went in when he was 25. Right out of high school.
Wow, so we have a lot of young recruits there. I mean, 18 years old. I didn't even know what was going on when I was 18. So that's a big move when you're a young person. All right, so they were training when they were really young, Mia. So the only one that was a little older was 25, which is pretty big age span. Wow. So right out of high school. And just so you veterans know, we have some students here who were very inspired by your lives, and they've been considering entering military service. So that's a good clue about what age. So let's move down to the next one. Leah, can you ask a question to our veterans? What did you want to know?
Did you have to take classes?
All right, so we have one student who wants to know, besides all the jumping and running and all the exercises, did you have to take classes? And we would be very interested to hear if anyone has an area of expertise that they studied, because we had some questions about that, and I don't want to run out of time, but do we have any specialists in our group, and what did they have to study?
Yes, you do have to take classes. Half the time you spend running around frantically, and the other half you try to catch your breath and learn something. The important thing after the first 8 weeks is to have memorized 12 or 15 standard issue 50-page manuals. Then you're allowed to go out and learn again.
Oh my goodness.
Did you hear that, kids? They had to memorize manuals. So there is some stuff you got to learn. So can you share a little of that? What that was like, having to memorize all that stuff in a hurry?
You learned in a hurry. Basically, they did, you have to learn to take your guns apart, put them together, to shine shoes, wear gas masks, shoot, and then you get to stand at attention and march in a straight line. It all takes time. All of your time. There is no homework because there's no home.
Homework is all the time.
Homework is all the time.
One of the other things is after we did the boot camp, I went on to communications school. After learning all of that, I had to learn Morse code. I had to learn about computers long before computers were really standard. And we had to learn about listening to other people, ending all of the words that everyone was saying, because the communication messages were very important. We went everything from what the weather's going to be like tomorrow to top secret type information. So it was something that you really had to learn and know, and it's not something that you could stop and think about.
Yeah.
Well, one of the main things you've heard a lot of people stand here and say that I had to learn this and I had to learn that, and it was tough, and we learned 24/7. What that's called is drill. When you have to stop and think about something, you're dead. All right, you have to know how to do it without thinking about it. Once they beat it in your head, literally beat it in your head, is you can do it when you're asleep or when you're awake or when you're confused or when you're looking backwards. If you have to stop and think about how to clear a gun, if it's jammed when you're getting shot at, you're gonna die.
Or when you're going down in a helicopter.
Or when you're going down in a helicopter. You're going down to do when you're going down, like look for water, just little things, where we're going to land at. Make sure you got to clear the area when you go down. You don't go down and it ain't cleared because you don't know who's going to be down there. So if you have to think about that, you're going to die. So it's called, these guys all attest to it. They beat this in your, literally will smack you around if you don't get it. Make sure you understand it so you can do it under pressure. A lot of things they do to you is to get you confused, to get you all upset, they got to take mama out of it. Mom and daddy's got to go, and then they'll make you a soldier. They kick you, they'll slap you, they'll jerk you around. They got to get you to quit thinking what mom and daddy told you so you can become a soldier. Once you become a soldier, it all comes secondhand to you. If you got to think about it, you'll die.
Okay, I was 19 when in the Navy, and in the Air Force, I was in communications. I was a teletype switchboard operator, and I had to, going through communication school, I had to learn to read perforated tape. That's paper, little thin paper about 1 inch wide on a roll, on a reel, and you have to learn each one of those little holes or what they represent, and there's all kinds of different ways, the way the paper is punched, the holes are punched in the paper. We had to memorize what each one was, and it stands for a word. So when I got graduated from communication school, I spent 2 years at Elmendorf Air Force Base, Anchorage, Alaska, working in a major relay comm center. And in the comm center, there are all kinds of machines, red buttons, green, amber, and you punch one of those buttons and that message goes somewhere, and when the message comes in, you type some more stuff onto it to send it out to wherever it's going, Japan, Russia, wherever. And that's it.
Thank you, thank you.
One more thing, just to expand a little bit on what Mr. Moore said a while ago. And when he said there's no mama and daddy, this is just to learn to teach you how to rely on yourself.
Amen.
You have to be able to take care of yourself, and then you can take care of others.
Amen. Well said. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Thank you, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you so very much for sharing.
They said next question.
All right. Thank you so much. That was an important question, right? All right. Kathy, can you ask one of your questions, please, so that we can kind of share a little bit?
Kelly?
Yes?
Mr. Moore would like to elaborate more on his answer, please, before we move on.
Okay, I'm sorry.
He said a very good statement about you have to learn how to do it yourself. But you also got to remember, it's not so much just about you. It's about this guy over here, this guy over here, the guy in front of you, the guy behind you. Because it ain't about your safety so much as it's about his. If you can't do your job and take care of him and take care of him, then you're not doing your job. Because if he's taking care of you and the guy beside him, that means you're a unit and you're a team, right? You've got to know how to do your job. He was 100% correct. That's why they beat it into your head. But you also got to know how to do his job and his job, right? Because if you can't do his job and his job, what if he goes down? Who's going to take up the slack? What if this guy behind? You got to know your job 100% and the guy beside you is job 100%. That way, it don't stop. You can keep going.
You're brothers.
Right.
You're a team. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Teamwork is something I think the world is lacking a little these days, to really know that somebody next to you is reliable and if you need to lean on them, they're strong enough to help you out when you need them, and to know your stuff with excellence, so that anybody at any time can turn to you and get the help they need. It's a real powerful thing. I don't know if the world experiences that anymore, if they know what that's like, to turn to your left, your right, and there's somebody standing right there. That's a rare thing in this world right now, and it's a valuable, precious thing. All right, Kathy, do you have a question that you've prepared?
Robertson Kelly. We're running short on time. Maybe we can jump down to some of the young men that want to join the military for their questions.
Okay, Rabbi, go ahead.
I know Daniel and Ariel had expressed interest in joining the armed services. Ariel, do you have a question that you would like to ask your seniors? This is one of the reasons we teach the Torah. The Torah of our God teaches community, and we must count on one another. When Israel stood with God, there was no army that could defeat us. And a military that stands with God is a military that wins. So, Ariel, ask your question, and Daniel.
What inspired you to fight for the freedom of our nation?
The audio here was a little bit fuzzy, so could you ask that question one more time, please?
What inspired you to fight for the freedom of our nation?
What inspired you to enlist?
Well, at the time that I enlisted,
I told y'all, don't go sit down. Come on back here.
I started out in the Army Reserve, December 6, 1955. At that time, when you turned 18, you were supposed to register for the draft. If you didn't, you might get a letter from my friends. So
asking where are you, huh?
I was doing my duty as an American citizen when they said it's your duty to register for the draft, and you went in the military. I went in the Army Reserve first. And
okay, thank you, Mr. Clinton. Next.
All right.
What inspired you? Yeah.
What are you saying, man? Put it on there.
Yeah, they want to hear from him.
Roy, come on.
Roy, come on.
Roy.
You speak first, and then Dean will expound on what you said.
I was back during the Vietnam era. We had all signed up for the draft, and I graduated from school. I then got the word that I was going to be drafted. I did not want to go into the Army, so I joined the Navy. My father was in the Navy during World War II. Several uncles were in the Navy during World War II, and I just did not want to be in the Army, so I joined the Navy. I don't regret it. I'd do it again. A lot of guys back then skipped the country and went to Canada, would not fight for this country, and I think that's totally wrong. If you're going to live in a country and leave in the country, you need to be willing to stand up and fight for it.
Amen. Well said. Thank you, sir, for your input. All right. All right. And this gentleman.
Come on, you go.
Vision.
Yeah. I was in the 25th Infantry Division in Vietnam, 68 and 69. I had graduated from college, worked for a year. I'd been physical deferments, but they needed more people in 68, so my inspiration was a draft notice. But I served my country, and once in the service, you develop a brotherhood.
Amen.
And The military is your family, and your unit is your close family. And you're there for each other. And I can't honestly say that it was all for the American flag. It was more for each other. We had to cover each other to survive. So the military taught that I never thought I would do. When I got to Vietnam, I did those things. And to this day, some of them still bother me. But war is not pretty. It'd be wonderful if we could avoid it. But if we gotta have it, bring it on. And I'd do it again.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service, sir.
Come on, Wayne.
Back one more time and I won't come back again.
Oh, yes, you will. Yes, you will.
Well, I went down to join the Navy. My mother, my brother and my father were both Navy guys. But unlike them, I wanted to fly. The Navy was full. You just flat couldn't get in. I mean, they were flat full. And the Army guy says, "Hey, you want to fly?" I said, "Yeah, I want to fly in helicopters." He says, "You can fly in the Army in helicopters." I looked at him like, "You got to be crazy. The Army's got helicopters?" He said, "Yeah." And I have to give it to the Army. They did exactly what they said they're going to do. Went through basic, went through a 6-month course in Chinook helicopters, which is the big one on the top.
Now, can y'all see this? Back up just a little bit.
The big one on the top.
Big one right up here on the top. Okay.
Believe it or not, that patch is from 1969.
Can you back up just a little bit?
That patch is from 1969.
And bend back just right here.
1969. That was our unit patch in Vietnam.
Yes, sir.
I was a door gunner, a flight engineer, and did it all. And I like what the brother said over about war. You don't want to go there because it smells bad and kill your hearing. It really will. It don't. It's just not fun. But it goes back to, like these gentlemen said, training. You got to think about it, it'll kill you. So you just do it.
It's got to be second nature.
It's got to be no nature. You just do it. These gentlemen here, these aviator also, he's not feeling it.
Reverend Serena, how are we on time? I know we're a little over at the moment. You have time for
I think we have time for one more question. Didn't David have a question?
David or Daniel, I know one of you lads wanted to go into the service of our country.
Okay.
I'll go first. Did you regret being a soldier during the war, or were you trying to stay strong through it due to violence and chaos?
Okay, I need slowly, they said, please.
Okay. Did you regret being a soldier during the war, or were you trying to stay strong through it due to violence and chaos?
Did you regret?
The one thing I can say about that is, I'm sure you've all heard the old saying, anything's worth having is worth fighting for.
Amen.
You don't want to do it. You don't want to go to war. Like he said, war is not a very good thing. But if you have to, you have to. The country and our brothers and sisters here, we're all worth it. So it was worth fighting, even though we didn't want to, so that we could have the freedoms and the privileges we have today.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir. He said, Dean, he said, come on.
The misnomer there is surviving chaos. One thing everyone needs to learn and understand is that to do well, you don't survive chaos. You learn to serve chaos. Okay, you have to rise above it, get on the curl, and follow it through. And everybody has to do that everywhere in their lives.
Amen. Thank you, Yes.
I'm getting goosebumps, so watch out.
All right.
All right, you got to remember why they send young people to war. They got the energy to do it, okay? You can actually train a young person to do something. Old guys like us, we're old dogs, and it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. But a young person,
Don't even go there.
a young person, you can actually teach them stuff that they will be able to maintain. It's like stirring a pot of soup. When that soup gets nice and thick, it's hard to stir in, right? But the person that's stirring it knows what they're doing. That young troop, even though he might be scared to death, he don't have to think about it. It's just reaction, okay? Don't have to think about it. It's just reaction. And let me say this, and I mean it because Memorial Day's come up, and I'm sure you've heard it many times. All gave some, but some gave all. This Memorial Day, we're honoring the ones that gave all. Because there's a lot of brothers and sisters that we can sit here and tell you about that just didn't come back. And we wonder why we came back and they didn't, because when you're standing beside somebody left or right and they go down and you're still standing up, you're like, holy mackerel, Ralph, what's going on here, right? That's stuff we got to live with, right? Stuff we got to live with. It ain't one of us sitting out here that don't think about that daily and every day. Just think about that. All gave some, but some gave all. And Memorial Day, we're going to honor the ones that gave all.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you.
What he said, partly what the man just before me just said. He said old people are, can't learn stuff like new people, but young people, but old dogs can learn new tricks too.
Amen. Amen. See, I told you, don't even go there with that. I mean, 1 minute.
Just couldn't remember. The old dog couldn't remember everything. Regrets? No. One thing I did want to emphasize that they're gave all. They're the heroes. But I want to say that everybody served in the military had a part.
Amen.
If you think about a football team playing in 95-degree weather and the water boy doesn't bring the water, the team is going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
So every person has a part, and if any part fails, it hurts the overall team.
Yes, sir, it does. Yes, sir.
Amen. Thank you for your service, gentlemen. One of the things we teach our students is there is one that gave his all for us, and that is our Messiah, Yeshua. And we serve him to the best of our abilities because he's honored us with a country that's free and men and women who have served with honor, dignity, grace, and their blood. We live in a country that's losing its honor. Because we've forgotten people like you. We've forgotten our roots. And this is why we're teaching these first-generation Americans the dignity that they're afforded. I've had the fortune of traveling around the world preaching Jehovah Sabaoth, the Lord of hosts, our commander-in-chief, Yeshua the Messiah. And he gave his life for all of us so that you would have an eternity. There are those that gave their lives, and they did not give them in vain. This group remembers and honors those who have fallen. And on this day, as we get together, this day, and many of my brethren, the Jews fell, because this is the day that they captured all of Jerusalem, where it's unified and once again. King David was a great man of honor, made one mistake. And that's what people remember. We're going to forget the mistakes and honor the good work that you did. We thank you, gentlemen, for serving our country and giving us the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the freedom to lock our doors or not to lock our doors, the freedom to go to school or to homeschool our children, the freedom to worship our God in spirit and in truth. We thank you for your memories. We pray that we never have to go to war again. But if we do, we'll stand with you. Amen. Anything else, Robertson Kelly?
No, I think we've had a very, very full couple of hours. We are filled to overflowing with beauty and joy and strength and faithfulness and perseverance. We hope that all of you can take away from this afternoon a whole heart overflowing. We pray that we were able somehow to let you know that there are patriots alive and well, and there are people that do recognize and remember your lives, your service. Thank you so much for coming. We are overjoyed that you are here. This concludes our presentation, and we are walking away with some beauty and some joy. Thank you for being willing to share with us your memories, your lessons, things that we would never learn unless you were willing to share it. And I just want to address that the ones that fell, we know that God had a reason for that. But those of you who did not fall, probably today is the reason you lived to tell their story to this young generation. And it's beautiful to us. Thank you. Thank you so much.
And we'll just end with the blessing that was given to my people 3,500 years ago. Yivalekaka Yehovah Varishmerka, Yehovah Panavaleka Vikuneka, Isa Yehovah Panavaleka Vikem Laka Shalom. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord lift his face to shine upon you. May the Lord be gracious unto you and give you his shalom, life, fullness, and peace, and the healing touch of our Yehovah Rapha, the Lord who is our healer. In his name, Yeshua, I pray. Amen.
Shalom. My name is Messianic Rabbi Andrew Dinnerman, and I invite you to come to visit our congregation. If you are in the tri-state area, come out and visit with us on Shabbat. We are a congregation of Jews and Gentiles, living as one in the Messiah Yeshua. BGMC is a place of true worship. The focus never wanders from the Hebraic roots of our faith. Beth Goyim is rooted in the Word of God from Bereshit through to the book of Revelation. Messiah's strong words against man-made tradition are carefully recorded in Matthew 7. That is the reason we only follow the straight-up instructions found in Scripture. Truly, the way, the truth, and the life. If you're looking for a deeper walk with Adonai, come out for our Tuesday evening Bible study called Messianic Torah Time. Come, spend a day with us on any Shabbat. We start at 11 a.m. with the sound of the ancient Hebrew shofar. Next, we offer our King praise and worship in English, Hebrew, and Spanish. After worship, we review the headlines in the previous week's news from around the globe, especially news from the Holy Land, Israel. We don't just list the news headlines as current events, but we comb through the scriptures, searching for clues to understand what they mean and then to help pinpoint prophetically our current position on Adonai's clock. After digesting all that modern information, we leave the world behind as we journey with our Adonai deep into his eternal word, not with just 1 or 2 scriptures, but usually 7 or more scriptures. The spiritual nourishment and the richness of his kingdom become accessible to the ones who share this special time and seek them out. The day does not end there. Because Shabbat is so special to him, there is always so much more that our King desires to share. So instead of separating and leaving, we stay together as a family for potluck lunch and an afternoon study of our King's Word. We close the Shabbat together with the reading of the new week's parashah. That's the Torah portion. Even after those blessings, many of us just can't get enough. So the members bring prepared homemade foods to share while we all enjoy an uplifting movie together. If all that information is not quite enough, you can check out our website where you will find over 200 video teachings and biblical holy day studies. Under Messianic Torah Time, the Hebrew Roots button, you'll discover free studies on many, many different topics, including PowerPoint slide presentations. If Beth Goyim sounds like a place you'd love to visit, but you live outside the tri-state area, there is still a way to connect with us. We stream live on the internet on Tuesday, Thursday, and Shabbat. The website is www.bethgoyim.org. That's BETHGOYIM.org. Our phone number is 973-338-7800 or 978-2-YESHUA. That's 978, the number 2, Yeshua. Shalom.